I would go to sleep at night. I would have 15 pills sitting on the desk next to me for when I wake up because I knew I was going to have withdrawal when I got up. I'd wake up sweating, shaking, and I'd grab those, throw them in my mouth, chew them up, and swallow
15 at a time.
15 at a time. Yeah.
Have you ever looked back on your life and regretted something so massive because of how it affected the rest of your life? It is time for us to react to the powerful Kurt Angle on Joe Rogan. He was actually ex-WWE and an Olympic champion for wrestling.
The dude's an animal.
The dude's an absolute beast. But apparently he talks about the one regret he has in his life, because a lot of men don't live with regrets if you've done life.
I mean,
right?
I think they do, but they just don't say it.
They don't say it, but this is something he actually apparently says, and I am very excited. All right?
Yeah.
Well, throughout my career, was there anything that I would change?
Yeah.
Well, we'll get into this topic, I guess. After I broke my neck the second time, the first time in WWE, I was introduced to painkillers. And
Oxy.
when I started taking them, I really liked it. I mean, it masked the pain. I couldn't feel the pain. It kind of gave me an energetic feel. It didn't make me feel nauseous like it does a lot of people. And I started taking it. I was taking one every 4 to 6 hours, like I was told. But after a while, you build a tolerance, and one doesn't work anymore. Then you have to take 2, and 2 led to 4. 4
Was this
led to 8.
Oxycontins?
This was extra strength Vicodin. The Oxycontins are a lot more powerful than the Vicodin. But I was taking 65 extra strength Vicodin a day.
Whoa.
That's how out of control I got.
Whoa.
Look at Joe. Look what Joe Rogan did.
Yeah.
65 a day?
Came up.
65 a day?
Yeah.
You can feel that in his plums.
I mean, if you're awake, bro, for, let's say, 16 hours, you're popping it every 15 minutes.
That's an insane amount of Vicodin.
I mean, bro, can you imagine what one of those vials probably comes with? I doubt 60. So imagine you have a vial for every day, and what was his doctor thinking?
No, I don't think he had to have gotten them illegally,
Some of those drugs you do can make you paranoid, is that right?
because there's no way
Yeah.
that a doctor would prescribe that much.
Well, that's kind of the thing with doctors. If you find one with a low approval rating,
How does that feel?
Weird.
Perfect.
that is the best way to get one to cheat the system for
we
you.
are not recommending this.
Not
by the way.
recommending
not
this. But that is
emotional advice.
apparently how people who are addicted to drugs continue to get prescriptions. You find doctors who are actually really bad at their job, who need the money.
Is it hot in here?
Wow.
That's how OxyContin became so prevalent, is because as soon as it started, there was the salesman would go into the office with the doctors and basically try to force them into prescribing it for their patients, and saying that it wasn't actually there was no side effects to it.
Yeah.
But apparently this guy broke his neck 2 times, so I need to see this.
I will give it to him. Vicodin is I'm not going to say weak, but like in comparison to the other ones, it's pretty weak.
Don't say that to House.
And I was hiding it from the company. and I mean, I was in serious trouble.
And does that even make you high at that point? Or does it just keep you from going into withdrawals?
It kept me from going through withdrawals, but there were times where I passed out. I mean, the company knew. Some of my friends knew. I'll give you an example. There was one point. This is how bad it got. There was one point in my career where my brother called me. I was at a house show, an untelevised show for WWE. It was the night before. I was going to have the biggest.
Is this dude talking about past drug issues and Joe just sparked up a blunt?
No, it's a cigar.
Oh, is that what? Okay,
They smoke cigars.
Okay.
You thought that he was getting high?
I know Joe smokes weed on the show. I just didn't know if this was the choice moment he decided to spark up a joint.
No, he always has him and his guests smoke cigars.
Okay.
That's like his thing.
Okay.
And even then, like, that's a lot of smoke, bro. Like, you just have to be like, and then just blow it across the
Like, it looks like he's burning incense.
Match of my career with Brock Lesnar the next day. It was an Iron Man match on SmackDown.
Oh, it's my older brother.
And my brother calls me and says, hey, your sister just died of a heroin overdose. And it crushed me. I mean, I was crying. I was in such pain thinking about my sister, who was only 40 years old, dying from a heroin overdose. And the thing is, I wasn't able to talk to her because I told her 8 months prior, if she doesn't get clean, I'm not gonna talk to you. So I didn't talk to her for 8 months. And then this happens. And so here I am, I'm in the hotel room, and I look at my pills. I said, fuck it. I took 20 of them, threw them in my mouth, chewed them up, and swallowed them.
Oh, my God.
I didn't wake up till 5 o'clock in the afternoon the next day. And I had the biggest match of my career.
Oh, my
That night. So what time did you have to be to the arena, and did you do it?
Well, we had to be there at 1, but I didn't get there till 5:30.
Right.
Yeah. But,
I didn't even know that other guy was
I ended
there.
up.
Who's this Walmart Tristan Tate in the room smoking the cigar with him?
It's Tony Hinchcliffe. He's a comedian.
Oh, okay.
20 Vicodin at one time.
I'm surprised he didn't die.
I'm truly convinced some people, God protects them so much because of the calling that he still has on their life. Like, dude, for you to not die when you take 20 Vicodin at one time is an absolute miracle.
Yeah, I mean, that's just that's adaptation for you. Because, like, realistically, if anyone, regardless of who you are, pops 20 Vicodin at a time,
Gosh,
you're likely going to die.
I mean,
but
dude,
because
if
he
you
built
take
up a
20
tolerance-
ibuprofen at once, you can be in the hospital.
Yeah.
Like, dude.
He had built up some heck of a tolerance to be able to take 20 and not die.
And wake up at 5 o'clock on the next day.
Yeah.
What stat are you looking up?
How many Vicodin it takes to die? I can't find it.
All right.
I'll get it for
If
you
we
guys.
find it, we'll let you guys know.
Doing it. The WWE was trying to call me the whole time. They were like, they wanted to tell me that, hey, you can go home, plan a funeral for your sister. You don't have to do this match. But I kept thinking, I know my sister will want me to. And I knew that I wouldn't have to feel that pain of losing my sister, at least for that hour. Yeah. So I went ahead and did it. And it was actually one of my best performances of my career, which is kind of crazy.
Wow.
But that was a really rough time. The painkillers are the one thing that I do regret I did in the company. I wish I was never introduced to them.
But do you think you had to take them? I mean, it sounds like you were in such excruciating pain all the time.
There were times I needed to take them, and there were times I didn't. But I was so far deep into it that I had to. Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. I would go to sleep at night. I would have 15 pills sitting on the desk next to me for when I wake up because I knew I was going to have withdrawal when I got up. I'd wake up sweating, shaking, and I'd grab those, throw them in my mouth, chew them up, and swallow
15 at a time.
15 at a time. Yeah.
Most people, 15 at a time will kill you.
Well, it
right?
didn't kill me. I took 20 at one time when my sister died. So I've been really lucky. I've been blessed. I honestly, I don't think I should be here today.
Pause.
How'd you get off of it?
Wow.
So I looked this. Only 8 a day is like max. At like over the course of a day.
And that's prescribed.
That's prescribed like max. Normally it's like 1 to 2 a day. So he took 20 at the same time.
65 in one day.
No, he had 20.
Yeah, but I'm saying he said he was taking 65 in one
No, but
day.
that's the thing. Like, prescription will usually state only take 1 or 2 every X amount
But that's
of
what
hours.
I'm saying. If it says 8 max, he took 8 times that. Jeez. And so now he just asked him, because we paused it, but Joe just asked him how he got off.
Maybe that's how he lost his hair.
I mean, some people just look better bald.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay. Well, what happened was I left the WWE because they wanted me to go to rehab, and I didn't want to go. So I ended up going to another company called Impact Wrestling. And I got my painkiller problem under control there because I found a doctor that got me on MS Contin. There are 2 morphine pills. They're very tiny, but they'll keep you from going through withdrawal. So I would take 1 in the morning, 1 at night, and no more painkillers. They were painkillers because they were morphine, but they were high dose. It was just 2 of them that I had to take. Well, I started having anxiety about breaking my neck over and over again, so they put me on Xanax. So now I'm taking Xanax. And then I switched to TNA, Impact Wrestling, and everybody drank there, so I started drinking alcohol.
Oh my
So I'm
gosh.
mixing, having these cocktails.
Joe's
and
face.
I'm so out of control.
Wait, rewind
Yeah,
that.
rewind that.
Rewind that.
That needs to be the thumbnail. You gotta make
Dude,
that.
if Joe Rogan has a face like that, you know you screwed up.
You gotta make that the thumbnail. God, dude.
All right, let's keep going. This is wild, bro. I mean,
That's just pure panic.
This dude, where the environment he was in every situation, whatever drug of choice they were doing, he's like, well,
You're taking an upper, then a downer, and then you have alcohol in the middle.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like the perfect cocktail sandwich.
Yeah, guys, don't do
This is not a
designer.
suggestion.
Yeah, don't do designer drugs, even if you're prescribed them.
Designer.
Yeah, designer drugs, like drugs designed by doctors.
Oh, gotcha.
Mixing, having these cocktails, and I'm so out of control that I'm driving, okay, from town to town, drinking a 12-pack of beer, and I got 4 DUIs in 5 years. I lost my reputation. Everything I worked for. I was at the lowest point in my life, and I remember calling my wife from jail after my 4th DUI, and she said, "Listen, I can't do this anymore. You either go to rehab or I'm taking the kids and I'm leaving." And so I went to rehab because I didn't want to lose my wife and my kids. And I was scared in rehab. I literally thought, I was so nervous. First of all, the withdrawal was the worst experience I ever had. I'll never go through that again because I'm never going to take another painkiller. That was the worst thing I've ever done, or drink another drop of alcohol. That was the absolute worst thing I've ever been through. And I forget what I was going to say, though. But
Yeah, because you took so many painkillers.
I mean,
That's ridiculous.
This is true though. It doesn't matter what drug of choice you're doing. The one thing that will absolutely get 99.99% of men to sober up is their kids and their wife. If they say the thought of not seeing your child, I'm not addicted to a drug, but the thought of not seeing my child will empower me to move heaven and earth, and it doesn't mean in hell, whatever it is.
You're addicted to the drug of success.
I am.
I mean, I'm just speaking it into your existence.
I mean, I have to. I'm going to experience that more and more.
That's right.
All right, let's keep going. Unless you guys
Microdose.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that life is much more difficult for someone who's actually capable of being a functional addict, because then they suffer the delusion of I'm okay. Like,
Yeah, self-delusion.
I can figure this out. I can work through it. I can still operate in life. Which clearly he was a functional addict. Like most people, if they're addicted to something, can't still discipline themselves to do what they need.
He was
to
in the
do.
gym all the time. He was wrestling.
Yeah, I mean, he's still going to wrestling. He was still
Breaking his neck,
making his appointments, and
It's also different painkillers as opposed to like heroin. Like if he was taking heroin, there's no way he would just be able to take it and then go out and fight.
Dude, this is why drugs are dangerous. Because the moment someone smart starts taking drugs, and they become a criminal, bro, they become dangerous people.
Most salesmen in my previous jobs, the highest functioning, highest performing salesmen were all on cocaine.
How do they get you off of it? They don't do it cold turkey, right?
They do. Yes, they do. I thought they were going to wean me off.
Yeah,
No,
that's what I thought.
they put you in a room and let you sleep, and they check on you every couple hours. And it took
many
me
days?
about 6 days for me to go through the withdrawal symptoms.
Oh my God.
It seemed like forever. It seemed like 6
days,
months.
you just in a room by yourself.
Yeah.
Just thinking.
Yeah.
Oh,
and you know what? And you want to stay in there. And they start forcing you out. You got to come move around. You got to come out and talk to people. You got to, live your life. And you're so exhausted. For the first 2.5 weeks, I didn't want to move. I just wanted to stay in my bed. Wow. But they were forcing me to get out of bed and be in conversating with people and trying to, go and eat and go to meetings and do all that stuff you do in rehab. So it was really tough.
How long did it take before you felt normal?
Well, I would say 2 weeks where I really felt normal. But the thing is, the last 2 weeks, because I spent a month in rehab, the last 2 weeks, I was so nervous that I was going to again. Like, I literally didn't want to leave rehab.
Yeah,
I was scared that I was going to go back to it right when I got out.
So many guys do. It's so
that's
crazy.
why, like, I hear all these stories, and I'm like, oh, it's going to happen to you too, man. And, but the one thing that I kept going across in my mind was going through withdrawal. I don't want to do that again. And I know if I start taking them, I'm going to have to experience that again, and I don't want to.
It was that bad?
It was that bad.
What is it like? Like, what does withdrawal feel like?
Okay, you're sweating because you're hot and you're cold at the same time. You're your pants, you're throwing up, you can't think straight, your body's shaking, you're getting hot sweats, cold sweats, you feel like you don't have anything inside of you, no insides, no organs, nothing. You feel like you're hollow. It's just the craziest thing. It's the most painful thing I've ever gone through. And, you know, I'm sure people have been in a lot more pain than that with certain things they've had done to themselves. But for me, that was the worst.
Yeah, I had someone explain to me once that the only way to really make someone who's never gone through withdrawals feel what it's like to go through withdrawals is imagine a night where you have drinking way too much and like you just cannot stop throwing up, and that gut-wrenching pain of feeling like you still need to throw up even though there's nothing even there to throw up, and like the sweats and like the inability to breathe, and like that feeling, you multiply it by 2 and extend it over the period of multiple days, and you have the feeling of withdrawals.
I know for me, this is kind of a weird crossover because I've never come off drugs withdrawals, but I know when I came back from the Amazon jungle, I was in bed for 2 weeks and I could barely move, and I was like brown sweat was coming out of my body. Oof. And my entire insides felt hollow. They felt, and I looking back and doing some research afterwards, I think I had malaria or something similar to it, because it was, I mean, I didn't leave my room for 2 weeks. I was in such excruciating pain. And I don't know what the crossover is, but I know what it feels like to be in bed for 2 weeks at a time without wanting to get up and move or walk around. It's
wow.
Absolutely just agonizing.
Wow. I can't imagine, man.
Yeah,
I've never been addicted to something to that extent where I had to go away because I couldn't do it on my own. And then that fear, I mean, I know a lot of people, you know, even close to me that, you know, have struggled with drugs, and they've gone to rehab, they've gone to Teen Challenge, they've gone to all these different things. And the problem with even a lot of those places is they don't prepare you for the real world. Those people people come out of that and don't know what to do. Their whole life was built around functioning while being addicted, so they don't know how to live life.
They don't know how to function outside of their addiction.
A lot of it they don't have, and they get lonely. That's the number one thing I've seen.
Because they feel like they're the only one dealing with it.
Yeah, most addicts get lonely. And then with isolation, you start to get in your head. And I'm not basing this off of experience. This is just what I've seen. People get in their head. They don't have that community around them. And then they go back, and it's very difficult to get out of that. Mm-hmm. So I feel for you people out there that are struggling with that. I don't, because I've seen a lot of people in my life struggle with that. So that seeing their life fall apart at certain times prevented me from, because it hurt me so much to see them go through that. But I feel for you people out there. I don't even know what else to say. It's just, it's tough to see people live that, man, because that's a part of life I haven't experienced because I've distanced myself so much from
what
it.
I learned from Kurt Angle on this is that he did come out of it, though. I think there is hope at the end of this.
He did.
You know, having the journey that he went through in the WWE, ultimately shifting over to a different kind of wrestling, is that he understood that the main component for him was, I don't want to go through that pain again, so I'm not going to go through it. But he also had the fear of losing his family on top of that. So if you're out there, anything we can all learn from Kurt Angle and his experience is that it's not forever.
Yeah.
The pain, the fear, the loneliness, the isolation isn't forever. Sometimes you have to go through the storm to realize what kind of man that you are on the other side, and that you will not be in the desert or you will not be in the wilderness forever. There is hope on the other side. Yeah. It's making those hard decisions to go through the wilderness instead of those coping mechanisms to stay in that place of functional depravity. And I think we can all relate in some way or another, even if it's not drugs, maybe it's food, or maybe it's social media addiction or pornography. There's multiple different addictions, and they define and redefine your brain in multiple ways. So guys, we really appreciate you guys taking the time to watch this with us. Obviously, it's a very intense subject, but we're going to be covering more of these type of videos in the future because this is real, this is life, this is raw, and we provide a different, maybe a more holistic approach than some of the other podcasts out there that you guys are listening to. Hopefully this makes sense from a macro perspective. So thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe and watch more videos down below, and we'll see you guys on the next video.
All right. Peace.
Peace.